Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. First off, a huge thank you for your incredible support on my previous videos about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Your likes, comments, and shares truly mean the world to me, and I'm so grateful for this growing community. If you're a subscriber, that moment when you click the subscribe button, it truly warmed my heart. Every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you feel right at home and join us in our community. I value every opinion, and I absolutely love all the different perspectives and discussions we're having in the comments. If you find today's video interesting, please don't forget to hit that like button. It's a simple click, but for a small channel like mine, it makes a huge difference in helping more people discover my content. Disclaimer, I am not a therapist, and this video is intended purely for entertainment and discussion. While I did spend 8 years in therapy, gaining a deep understanding of psychological processes, this video, like any of my others, is not meant to diagnose and reflects my opinion only. I simply love analyzing behaviors and patterns from a psychological perspective. Even if I were a therapist, it would be impossible to diagnose literally anyone without a number of personal sessions. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's topic, analyzing Ryan Reynolds. What a unique character. From the very first moment I heard him speak, I felt that through his public persona, I was seeing this deeply wounded little boy. Ryan literally can't form a sentence without inserting a sarcastic and usually mean-spirited joke. The levels of suppressed aggression seem to be through the roof, and I can only imagine how much he's suffering from it on a daily basis. I will get back to the interview I'm referring to in a bit, but for now, let's examine Ryan's involvement in Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case and see what it possibly tells us about his character. We need to dive deep to make further assumptions. In a recent video by Candace Owens, I found some interesting speculations about Ryan, and I want to share these with you. It is alleged that the filming has been going on for a while, and Blake and Justin were very friendly, everything was going well, until something happened and Ryan inserted himself into the situation, and since then, everything fell apart. Based on the evidence that I'm going to be sharing with you, I believe that this is a case of jealousy mixed with a power struggle. I'm going to be using Candace's timeline just for the sake of explaining my thoughts better, so credit to her. Ryan's movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Blake's It Ends With Us both started pre-production in January 2023. But Ryan's film was shot in the UK and Blake's was in New Jersey in the US. So they basically were away from each other, doing their own thing for some time. In April 2023, however, Blake submits a rewrite of the iconic rooftop scene, to which Justin responds by saying, "Thank you, this is great, but we're not going to accept all of it," to which Blake invites him to her penthouse, where allegedly, together with Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, who I guess was in town for a bit, they peer pressure Justin into accepting her ideas. Justin then allegedly messages Blake saying that she didn't have to do that and that her ideas were good enough, to which Blake responds with this huge message that you now see on your screen, and it's really long. So essentially in this message, she's saying that the previous director she worked with and just didn't take her seriously and dismissed her ideas, and it really hurt her. And basically, she's using feminism to create this pity party and shame Justin into accepting her ideas. To this message, Justin responds with that lengthy 7-minute, I believe, audio, apologizing on and saying, "I'm so sorry, how could I hurt your feelings? Oh my gosh, I can't imagine how you felt," something along those lines.
I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank, and I'm really sorry.
And essentially, he accepts her ideas. This is April 2023, right? So the craziest thing is that it wasn't until August 2024 when at a red carpet event for the film, Blake actually tells the world who wrote this piece. And apparently, it wasn't her. Who do you think it was? Let's just watch the clip together.
We work together so much. The iconic rooftop scene in this movie, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but you now. But he wrote it. He works on everything I do. I work on everything he does. So his wins, his celebrations are mine, and mine are his. I mean, he's all over this film.
So, Ryan was behind all of this. So this means this is essentially the first time he inserts himself into Blake's and Justin's film. And this was April 2023. Next comes July 2023. This is when SAG-AFTRA strike started and the production was shut down and Ryan came back home because he was no longer filming. Before that time, in June 2023, Blake and Justin were allegedly very friendly. According to Justin's lawsuit, they were laughing till 4 a.m. and Blake invited him to her penthouse where he held her baby. And this was around the time when she invited him to her trailer and she was breast pumping. And yeah, there's that text message exchange. And according to the exchange, it doesn't sound like it was a big deal for her, so I'm guessing she didn't think that he would essay her. Otherwise, why that level of trust, right? According to Justin's lawsuit, this is around the time when Blake suddenly requests to see all the dailies from the film, which is incredibly unusual for an actor or a producer even to request that. And the dailies are basically all the raw footage from the set. All of it. Everything that's been recorded. Coincidentally or not, this is around the time Ryan is back home. This is all speculation, obviously, but why would Blake request the dailies? Did she ever involve herself in the a direction of the film that deep when she wasn't actually the director? Is that even her ambition to do that? Or is that maybe Ryan's ambition to do that? Has he heard something or seen something that maybe possibly triggered jealousy in him and made him make that request to regain control of the situation and, see every little thing that was happening on that set? Or maybe it was more of a director's ambition of his? Let's move on. Then comes November 9th, 2023. This is the day when the strike is officially over. And according to Justin's lawsuit, this is exactly the day when Blake's lawyer sends to him and his team a letter with 17 demands for Blake to return to set. And if those demands are not accepted, and allegedly those are very strange demands, she will not return to set. And allegedly, this postponed filming of It Ends With Us until January. So basically, from that time, Blake and Justin didn't even see each other. And this is exactly the time when Ryan left again to shoot his movie. Is that a coincidence? Or is that a move on his part? Anyway, Justin decided to suck it up, and for the sake of the team and, people haven't been working for so long, and he really wanted to finish that movie because he actually had it in mind since 2019. And he was very deep into the creative process and he wanted to finish this movie, obviously. So yeah, he agreed to the demands. But then on January 4th, apparently there was a all hands on deck meeting at their house, at Ryan's penthouse, to which Blake brings a representative. Guess who? Mr. Ryan Reynolds himself. Focusing on Ryan here, what do you think made him really want to insert himself into this situation? made him kind of go allegedly crazy about it. Like I mentioned before, I believe this to be a mixture of jealousy and a power struggle, and it seems like he didn't deal with it in a very grown-up way, because all of this looks a little bit, or a lot bit, childish. See, the thing is, every event in our life by itself is actually neutral, and we give it meaning. That's why different people can give a totally different meaning to the same event. In Ryan's case, the situation with Blake and Justin with this film seems to have become negatively charged, which signals childhood trauma. Each man with a different upbringing and a different set of traumas would have reacted differently to the same situation, even if his actress wife was allegedly getting too close with her co-star. There could have been a million of different ways to go about it. And the way Ryan seems to have gone about it tells us a little bit about him. First of all, such a reaction signals transference. Transference in therapy is a psychological phenomenon where a person transfers their emotions, feelings, or expectations from a significant person in the past, usually it's parents or caregivers, onto somebody in their present. The feelings involved in transference are often rooted in past experiences, and the person may not even be realizing that they are directing these feelings towards someone who is not the original source of them. In Ryan's case, he mentioned many times in interviews that he had a difficult upbringing and relationship with his parents, particularly with his father. So it is possible that transference could be influencing Ryan's perception of Blake, putting a mask of his parent on her and reacting accordingly. If Ryan experienced certain dynamics with his parents, like neglect or abandonment or betrayal, he could be projecting those onto Blake, even when it's not the same situation. It just reminds him of something from his childhood. If Ryan's attachment to his parents was painful, he could be viewing Blake as fulfilling the same emotional role and basically reacting to her accordingly, as opposed to seeing her for who she actually is and what she actually does. Transference could actually cause Ryan to see both Blake and Justin as stand-ins for his parents, triggering reactions that are not necessarily aligned with the actual relationship dynamics, but with the feelings from the past. If Ryan is living with unresolved parental trauma and this inner feeling of unworthiness, which I suspect may be present because he is clearly exhibiting narcissistic tendencies and defenses, then his subconscious may have triggered him and used the situation with Blake and Justin in order to play out the same painful scenario from his childhood, the unresolved situation, in hopes to resolve it in the present. And this, by the way, is impossible because you cannot change the past. And our subconscious tricks us into thinking we can. That's why we use transference so often with our loved ones in hopes to fix something in our childhood. If it is so, then Blake may have played the role of Ryan's mother, who he may have been jealous of, and Justin played the role of his father, who Ryan felt like was superior to him. And there was this power struggle between them, maybe. This would explain Ryan's need for power win over Justin, constantly trying to diminish him professionally, undermine him, constantly mocking him. Clearly, there was a need to establish that Ryan is better than Justin. Maybe, allegedly, possibly in Ryan's mind. Maybe that's what Ryan dreamt of as a child. Maybe he dreamt of becoming the better man in competition with his father in his mom's eyes. And for the record, in Transference, the genders don't really matter. So it could be that Blake was playing the role of a father and Justin of a mother, but I still stick to that line of thought that Blake was his mom and Justin was his dad. Separating from Transference, the power struggle is an interesting aspect, a standalone one that Ryan may have been experiencing. Ryan's reaction and involvement in Blake's project could indicate suppressed aggression manifesting in moments where he feels a loss of control. Suppressed emotions like frustration or insecurity can lead to disproportionate responses when a triggering event occurs. In this case, his reactions to Blake and Justin's interactions might reveal feelings of possessiveness or fear of betrayal. Suppressed aggression often stems from unresolved past wounds, possibly linked to feelings of inadequacy or fear of abandonment. Ryan's constant use of sarcasm and making everything a joke, as I mentioned earlier, can also act as a defense mechanism, masking deeper insecurities. Ryan's hosting all hands on deck meeting at his house and his apparent involvement in the production process of Blake's film point to a need to assert authority. This could be an attempt to reestablish control in a situation where he feels sidelined or powerless. Overcompensation often arises from insecurity. Hosting the meeting at his house could be symbolic, a way to exert dominance and show that he has influence, even in Blake's professional space. In fact, from the very moment when Ryan inserted himself into the situation, the chain of his passive-aggressive hits on Justin allegedly began. For example, there was this post for Sandra Bullock's birthday, who definitely doesn't have anything to do with this, and we can see he kind of hints on the whole intimacy coordinator issue on Blake's set, who, by the way, allegedly refused to meet with one. Then in January 2024, allegedly the scenes were added to Deadpool and Wolverine, hinting at Justin, basically, the whole nice Paul character.
Sorry about that. Come here, girl. Who are you? Oh, I'm Deadpool. And I guess you're Deadpool too. But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminist. Right. And I guess you've already met Mary Poppins, aka Dog Pool. Careful where you put your hand. She's 90% G-spot, and she'll let you know it. You let this little flirt out of your sight for 1 second, and she starts shopping for a new papa. If you can't be a responsible pet owner, then maybe you don't deserve this little unicorn. Guilty on all charges, Your Honor. It shan't happen again. Why are you so nice? It costs nothing to be kind. Shutting the fuck up is also free.
And allegedly, at least there's such a speculation, that Blake was the dog, kind of, in this scene, metaphorically speaking. Isn't that weird? And this image from the film allegedly was also added in 2024, where Lady Pool shoots down Nice Pool multiple times, and in the background we can see a flower shop. And people are saying that it could be, you know, a hint at Justin's film, at Justin himself, and this could be one of those subliminal hits on Justin by Ryan. And another one was the credits. Apparently, Nice Pool's name was added to the credits of It Ends With Us, so it looks like, you know, Ryan likes to play that game. These alleged passive-aggressive moves by Ryan suggest that he can't confront the emotions directly. Passive aggression is often a way to express anger or frustration while avoiding open conflict. By taking these indirect jabs, Ryan may be venting his frustration without having to directly, openly address the root cause. If all these allegations are true and Blake indeed has little to do with it all, maybe except for telling Ryan in self-defense maybe that Justin essayed her, even maybe believing it, as we discussed in my previous video, through projection. If all these allegations about Ryan's involvement in this case is true, then the whole thing looks like Ryan is a puppeteer and Justin and Blake are his dolls in some sort of performance of transference and narcissism. Because definitely we can't forget about the narcissistic tendencies of Ryan and Blake actually as well. It looks like their fragile egos don't let them think clearly and perhaps push them into taking these drastic emotionally charged steps that they may later regret. And now, as a cherry on top, let's discuss Ryan's unstoppable humor. It seems like he is literally struggling to form a sentence without making a sarcastic joke. Let's see this clip from Actors on Actors, which was actually, for me, the first clip I ever heard Ryan Reynolds speak.
It's like, in movies when like there two people are struggling for control of the gun and then suddenly the gun goes off and the lights go out and for one terrible moment we kind of don't know who's been hit. Mm-hmm. It's like that's sort of like sometimes feels like my base emotion. So I have all these other things that kind of not just cover that up, but allow me to be at ease when I might not be at ease.
Alchemize. I watched the film last night. I watched Deadpool Wolverine last night, and I hadn't seen it.
You watched it on your Apple Watch, did
No,
you?
I had
That's how I watched We Live in Time, and I'm telling you, it's really fucking hard to like hold, the attention and stuff like that. You're like, oh fuck, this is like, how do kids do this?
Can you let me go somewhere?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So I as soon as it started, I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Through this.
There's no way they allowed him to do all of this.
And now let's see my favorite clips from the Variety video where Ryan included his mom and his best friend in an attempt to create some sort of sarcastic and, in my opinion, mean-spirited interview that I guess should have been funny or whatever. Anyway, it reminded me of Zach Galifianakis's show. It was a scripted show, obviously. Yeah, this is weird. Check it out.
Okay. Oh, God.
This is cool.
It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy.
I don't remember seeing this on the schedule.
Dive in, shall we? So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and I'm sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or something? Okay, no, just so it's Mrs. Okay. Anyway, I saw this photo. It was very suggestive. So I got it right here. I'm gonna get right to it. How do you explain that? Is that genetics? You have some sort of like low angle squat routine to pop that region in that way? I mean, what's going on here, man? Are you smuggling pumpkins? Got a couple of small pumpkins there? Jesus Christ, my heart is beating like crazy right now. The Nevada desert in the middle of a summer heat wave. He's not gonna make it.
Ryan?
Yep.
You want to take a break?
From Blake? Sure.
Hello, Brandon.
No.
Well, it's not every day the mother-in-law of the leading lady gets to interview the love interest and the man trying to replace my sweet little gummy bear, Ryan. Let's dive in, shall we?
Can we not dive in?
Mom, it's Ryan. I wrote all these questions, but don't tell Brandon. I don't feel very comfortable asking this question.
Nope, I got it. I'll get it. Here, I can do that. You're not going to read it. I will then. Okay, thank you very much. That's the one. It says Ryan would love to have a new dad to have a catch. And I think he could really use a man in his life. Hugh is no spring chicken anymore. Blink once for yes, or blink once for I'd love to be your new dad. He blinked. He blinked.
Is this hell?
No, it's Iowa. That's from Field of Dreams. It's one of Ryan's favorite movies because he and his late father had so much unresolved sadness. But pride got in the way, and neither of them were able to find closure. Ryan thinks Field of Dreams is a true story.
So listen, I've just got one question. What the hell are you doing messing with my best buddy's wife?
Sir, I have no idea what's happening at all today. But I do have to say, while I have you here, your work in Les Mis, what a triumph. I mean, I am a huge fan. You can do it all. You're a unicorn.
That jawline. Is the way he finds the light?
No. It's like the light finds him. It's just like...
Finds him. That's exactly right.
That's it. I was expecting not to like him.
Oh, yeah.
But he is so
nice. The nicest guy.
So
Everyone says
funny,
you're nice, but
charming,
he's-
kind.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this is that he was beating this other guy up with his humor, and then the video ended by the three of them saying how amazing he is and how fantastic and just praising him, putting him in a pedestal. Why did Ryan do that? Psychologically speaking, this could be a mix of cognitive dissonance and emotional conflict. Ryan may be experiencing tension between jealousy, insecurity, and respect. In the moment of the interview, his sarcasm and mean-spirited jokes may be a reaction to a perceived threat, for example, feeling jealous or threatened by the other person's relationship with his wife. And mind you, this was obviously scripted, so Ryan had time to think about doing all of this. So this was a very conscious decision, right? And mind you, Ryan is 48 years old, okay? So at the same time, once he released his aggression in this interview and the emotions are more settled, he then praises the person. He realized that the other person isn't as much of a threat, which leads to Ryan Reynolds praising him as a way of reconciling these opposing feelings. As for cognitive dissonance, when Ryan shifts from even jokingly but accusing the person to then praising him, maybe trying to reconcile the discrepancy between his aggressive feelings and his own acknowledgement of the person's value. And this praise may be his way of dealing with this discomfort. And there's also place for deflection and masking vulnerability, because the sarcastic comments, that's what they're doing. They're masking vulnerability. Instead of directly facing his feelings, he uses humor to mask them. I'm even thinking that he may be understanding it. I think he understands what he's doing in a way, to a certain extent, but he has perhaps so much unresolved trauma that he doesn't have any other way to deal with it. And in that case, I think it's always best to deal directly with the causes of the way you feel. Because right now, Ryan Reynolds' behavior ultimately reflects a lack of emotional regulation and an attempt to protect the self while simultaneously trying to resolve his internal contradictions between his own feelings of insecurity and respect for others. Okay, guys, I just rewatched the clips and I have one question. Is this another hit at Justin Baldoni? The skit is with Brandon Sklenar, but is he just acting out Justin's place, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like, is this all about Justin, actually? Because he was also a love interest of Ryan's wife. That really, if it is so, and I can easily believe it because there were so many hits at Justin in that way. This is like Ryan's signature move. Wow. Wow. Now I can't stop thinking that it is this way. Maybe not, but if yes, then wow. So what does this tell us about the people who like this kind of humor? That's also very interesting, I think. I think they associate themselves with the aggressor in this case, with Ryan. He presents himself as witty, as smart. I bet he thinks this is some kind of intellectual humor. And these people associate themselves with him. They are able to imagine themselves in a powerful position, throwing these punches, being so smart and cool. And maybe that's one of the reasons. Another reason, if they themselves feel this enormous amount of suppressed aggression, then attaching themselves to Ryan, kind of merging with him psychologically, maybe it provides some sort of a relief for one's own suppressed aggression. And it's about power, I think, as well. To sum up all that we've talked about today, and I hope you're with me at this point and you watch till the end. After diving into all of this, I have one conclusion. How scary it is to have deeply wounded people with excessive power, and how much their power and influence actually affects our lives in the society, and we might not even be noticing that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I invite you to check out other content on my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.